we need to talk about statistics, okay? I polled some kids because, as you guys know, I'm a devout Adventures in Odyssey fan. Not getting, pretty good. I polled some kids about on some questions, right? And I found that this episode Slumber Parties, partially accurate. Only one person said that someone had attempted to sneak into the sleepover. So I found that interesting. One of like 17 that I asked, and it was about 50% accurate. People saying, "Oh yeah, sometimes they talk about people at sleepovers. Sometimes they talk about who they like at sleepovers, etc., etc." But they've never attempted to cook pizza on a light bulb or anything like that, which I find comforting given the state of Gen Z. Anyway, another thing that I found was polling about was in last week's episode. I was asking kids what they would do if someone locked them in an escape room. In fact, let me tell you for them. Okay, I'm going to tell you this. This video was recorded a few days ago, but I asked some more kids, so the statistics might be a bit off. I have like an updated list here of my TI. Oh, the statistics went up. Okay. Well, about 50% of kids said that they would allow that their parents would allow them. 8 out of 17. That's 47%. We were hovering around 40% last at the time of this short that was recorded. Would allow them to go if they could walk to a friend's house, walk there all by themselves. And this is why this question is important. Oh wait, for some reason comments are disabled. Weirdos. Okay. I'm going to share my tab. Hopefully you can see this on the screen. Look, it's me. Hello, Odyssey fans. So if someone locked you in an escape room and made you think that you were going to die, and then you got escaped and you later teamed up on a detective case, you found out that the detective case was a setup, and that the person who locked you in an escape room was going to be embarrassed and shown as a thief, of course, being fake. Um, would you help the kid and stop the live stream because it's being live streamed to the school, or would you let them be embarrassed in front of the entire school? Right, so that's the first question. We got basically 50-50 mix. Some kids say, oh, pray for them, believe them there. Some kids say, I saved them. And some kids are like, hey, they deserve it. They get embarrassed, right? But the more interesting question, in my opinion, and of course, I posed this question to you viewers as well. Oh, no. Yes, okay. Chat works. Chat works. Okay. I asked this question to some kids at school today, and they were like, I might pray for them. Or some of them were like, I let them get embarrassed. Some of them were like, oh, I'd save them. And I couldn't count. The vote is 6-4. 6 kids say that they can't go to a friend's house without being into a. Yeah, and 4 said that they could, basically having around 40%. Now, at last count, it is 8-17. Okay, so 8 out of every 17 children, or about 47% of children, say that they could go to a friend's house without parental consent or knowledge, which is I found very interesting. Which means Adventure in Odyssey is basically appealing to about 50% of the demographic, in terms of realism, which is good, right? So in that episode, now we were polling really low at some point, in which like only one kid would be allowed. But in that episode that I was talking about, there's like 2 kids at someone else's house, Suzu and Emily, and of course someone else's house, and like one of her friends come over. So it's more like 3 kids at someone else's house, which means like and parents aren't really mentioned. It's her dad's not home or something like that, right? So realistically, I guess we'd have to have like two kids would have to ask, and 2 kids wouldn't have to ask, right? With the 50% game. But it's better than expected. It makes sense though. But speaking of making sense, we have to talk about today's Down Gilead Lane episode from Keys for Kids, which happy birthday to them. keysforkids.org. Now, I believe this episode was recorded in like 2000, right? So they have some like Russian girl come here, and we're gonna assume she's like 16, right? And I believe communism fell in Russia in like 91. So it's kind of weird. Yeah, we had our Odyssey predicting the future video. That was a good one. Okay, I'm just gonna like edit the stream to make sure that we can still get comments if people, want to come on. There we go. So I'm gonna just play like a few clips from Keys for Kids Radio, with big thanks to them for interviewing me. January. There we go. And of course, happy 34th birthday to Jim. I wonder what open mic is. Looks good. Okay. So we're gonna play some of this. I'm gonna like fast forward to some because obviously this isn't like, we don't pirate stuff. So I'm gonna like good teach you.
Going to study the different planets and many other things in the universe.
Like asteroids? So your parents are getting another kid now, Maya?
No, Mike. Lana's an exchange student.
Okay, so here we go. This kid is like an exchange student, and I'm just gonna play like this tiny clip. And I'm gonna react to it, and then don't worry, we're gonna get to the 1+4. Don't worry, guys. Oh, open.
She's only here for a couple weeks.
Why?
So she can see what America's like.
That's cool. I mean, I like America.
That's great. Good for Mikey. You know, I like America too. That's all I have to say for that. And then of course, like Caleb has a crush on her or something. What was the thing I wanted to talk about? Oh, yes. In today's Adventures in Odyssey episode, I'm trying to remember here, and I also got to talk about the concessions to the crowd. We'll get to that, but let's talk about the church situation first. In today's Adventures in Odyssey episode and Down Gilead Lane episode, both kids/teenagers, kids and teenagers in TGR and teenagers in AIO. Okay, both go to church, which makes sense. This is a Christian audio drama. But they all go to the major service. Oh yeah, now I don't know if this is like a Midwest thing. Probably not, because I went to church in Ohio one time when I was going to see that arc in like Kentucky. I was in Kentucky or Ohio. Anyway, yeah, and they had a kids like youth service. So I don't understand it, like why did both churches don't have youth services? Is that like maybe it's a denomination? No. What is it? It's not a denomination. I don't know what Keys for Kids is. I don't know what it is. Anyway, but we have to talk about something way more important than that. We're gonna scroll ahead through the Keys for Kids thing. So I'm gonna like click off so you don't like hear too much and they say what and whatever. Okay.
And I have faith that it's true.
Dad, but Caleb says no one was.
Oh, here we go. So Maya went to the planetarium and they said something about millions of years, and Grace is going to touch on it a little bit, and it's kind of iffy.
Really there when they created the Earth, so who really knows?
And you're having a few doubts?
No, I still believe, but I just don't think I know enough.
Well, Caleb does have a point.
He does?
Mm-hmm.
No, of course, the only reason he said none of us was due, instead of haha, God doesn't exist, is because Lana, the Russian girl, believes in God and he's trying to impress her or something.
This was there when God created the earth.
True.
But I believe that he did because he says so in the Bible.
True.
And I have faith that it's true. But we don't know exactly how he did it.
What does she mean by that? We don't know exactly how she did it. Like, has she never read the book of Genesis? We don't know exactly how. I don't know. Maybe he like spoke. I honestly didn't know what she was talking about there. That's the only thing problem we had there. All right, let's see what's next on the list. All right, we're gonna talk about this golfing place in Houston